Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca, and here on my channel I like to talk about budgeting and finance, all things money. And today I am going over how much my husband and I spent on our week-long vacation in Mexico. So we went to Tulum, Mexico for kind of a belated honeymoon slash anniversary trip. We had actually booked a elopement slash honeymoon kind of trip to Europe. We were going to get married in Paris in the spring of 2020, and then obviously that did not happen. So we had a ton of travel credits and we wanted to use them. So we waited till we'd actually just gotten the virus when I planned our trip, and I thought that we were safe for a little bit, so we felt comfortable taking a trip in March 2021 to celebrate our year anniversary and act as a belated honeymoon. So I had planned this kind of last minute. I started planning in January and we took our trip in March. So I don't know if I got the best deals on everything, but I searched really hard to find good deals. As you know, I am a budget YouTuber, so I love doing things on a budget, and I actually had a lot of travel credits, so I'll show you kind of how that worked out, but I will show the total cost as if we didn't have travel credits, because that is more accurate of how it would be for a general person. So the first thing that we spent money on was transportation, and this in this category, the biggest thing, not able to spell today, the biggest thing would be our flights, but we actually had those covered due to some credits, so I'll put a star there. But this number included our flights, our bus trip. We had to take a 2-hour bus ride from Cancun, where our flight landed, to Tulum, and then taxis from the city downtown area to the beach, where we stayed half the time. And then for our taxi, we ended up taking a taxi instead of the bus back from Tulum to Cancun, because it just saved us time, and at that point we would rather have the time than the money. So the total cost for that was $763.34. And $600 of this was flights. So we really only spent of our money $163, and most of this was the taxi back. So the long 2-hour taxi was $90, whereas our bus ride on the way there was only $30. So if you're traveling to Tulum, I would recommend taking the bus. It also has a restroom on board, which is really handy if you are catching it straight from your flight like we did and don't have time to stop and use the restroom in between. So this was equal around to, I don't know why I put a dollar sign. Whiteout is my best friend. It's to 35% of our total vacation spending. The next big item for anyone, but for us, was accommodations. And these I booked, it was really expensive. So I found that when you go to Tulum, you can either stay in the city, and it's much cheaper there, or you can stay at the beach. But all of the beaches are private, so if you want beach access, you either have to pay to get into a beach club every day, or pay to stay at a beach place, and then you can use their beach club. So we ended up splitting it half and half, because we wanted to stay at the beach, but we didn't want to pay a bunch to get in every day. So we spent the first half in the city, and we used that time to do all of our excursions. And then we spent the second half at the beach, just bumming out. So our total cost for accommodations was $784.15, which is equal roughly to 35%. And this one, I also have an asterisk next to this, because I booked our, we stayed at a hotel called Coco Tulum, and I booked that through Chase Travel, which I have the Chase Freedom credit card, which we use every month for our regular expenses, but then pay off like a debit card to get the points. And when you book travel through them, you actually get really good deals with cancellation guaranteed for free, which is what I was most interested in, because obviously we had spent so much non-refundable money last year. I'm very wary these days of things that don't have free cancellation. So, and when you book through their app, you also get 5% cash back. So I have an asterisk next to this, because we actually used, I think we had around $100 of credits from that I just added as a credit statement to take off that cost, some of that cost. So those are our two big costs. Then we had some excursions, and we really just we took one tour, which we hadn't planned on, but then when we were there, we wanted to go see the Tulum ruins, which are Mayan ruins, and they just said it would be much better with a guide than if you try to just go to the park yourself. And we weren't having as much fun in our downtown half of the trip, just trying to wander around on our own. So we figured, why not? It was $40 a person, which was by far the cheapest I'd seen anywhere online. It's from Tulum Tours, and I'll link all of this information below. So if you're planning a trip to Tulum, you can kind of get some good ideas for where to get the best deal. But we spent $80 on that, and then we went to a cenote, which is kind of what this area of Mexico is known for. They're like freshwater underground rivers, and that was $30. So the cost for that portion of our trip was $128.50, which I think is pretty good because a lot of costs were like per person that much for one tour. So I felt like I lucked out there, and we really didn't do anything else excursion wise. So that ended up being 6% of our trip cost. And then souvenirs, we got, I guess technically, I put two things in this category. One was a hat that I really wanted. I don't know if that's a souvenir or not, but it kind of felt like one. And then the other was, we got some magnets from the Coba ruins, which Coba is like a city about 45 minutes away from Tulum that also has ruins, and our host in our tour took us there. And we like to get magnets to commemorate any trips that we take, and so I like to get multiple, and then I can turn some of them into ornaments for a tree. So total we spent on souvenirs $41.31, or roughly 2%, and that was just mostly the hat was $33. And then it was actually really funny because we were on this strip like at the beach, and we went into one hat shop because I was like, I really just want a hat, and I asked her how much they were, and she said $70 US, and we were like, nope. So we went into the next shop and we're like, how much are your hats? And she said $25 US, and I was like, wow, this lady next door is like really scalping people. So we definitely bought the cheaper one, and I'm glad. I mean, I never would have paid that much for a hat, but it pays to look around. And then our other really big cost was food and drinks. So this can vary wildly, and we tried to spend very frugally with this, but so we stayed in an Airbnb for the first half, and it was a studio, so there was no kitchen, so we couldn't really cook anything. And then the second half, we stayed in a hotel room that didn't even have a mini fridge, so we definitely couldn't cook anything. So we tried to do our best the first half of our trip by like going to the convenience store and buying like avocados and bananas and some croissants for breakfast, and then buying a lot of street food. But the food at the beach was so expensive. It was like high US prices. And when you're at the beach, there's really nothing else you can get. So, I mean, there was a Go Mart, which like a convenience store, and inside that was a Subway. So one time we had that. And just to give you like context, both of our meals at the Subway when we went, like together, it was like $7. But when you go to a restaurant, your meal is like, we spent our biggest meal at a restaurant was like $100. And that was crazy. We would never have usually spent that much, but we had met some friends on the trip, and so we were with them, and that kind of just happened. But anyway, the food cost was definitely the highest, and I think that we did it pretty frugally. And we spent $431.17. But it can definitely get out of hand really quickly, especially the hotel that we stayed at the beach. You just like, you get this little card and you charge everything to your room, so you pay for it at the end of your trip, and the cocktails are like $13, right? So I saw so many people just drinking so much, and I was like, oh my gosh, your bill is going to be crazy. We made sure to keep ours really low. It was only like $50 when we checked out, but it could have gotten away from us fast. So we spent 19% of our budget on food, sorry. And then the last one, we just had some miscellaneous costs. And this was mostly our COVID tests, which we had to get to fly back to the US. And those were $30 per person, which when I called the hotel to ask them if they offered COVID tests, because I didn't really know what the situation would be down there, they said it was going to be $200 per person. And so we were like, what? Like, there's no way we're not going to pay that. That's ridiculous. But there were actually like these little clinic like buses set up all along the road, and you could just pop in and take your rapid test for $30 and they email you your results. And that ended up being what we did. So that saved us a ton of money. But it was that, and then we had to get like batteries and Band-Aids. So those are just our random miscellaneous costs. So that was 3% of our trip. So altogether, that amount is $2,216.35. But we used credits in the amount of minus $701.17. So our total out-of-pocket cost ended up being $1,515.18. So for me, that felt like a lot because we are really, we try to be like really frugal travelers because we really like to travel. And a $1,500 trip just isn't super sustainable all the time. But I actually was curious to see kind of how we stacked up against the average US traveler, and the average nightly or daily, I guess, daily per person is $250. So for us, we were 2 people, it would have been $500, and we were there for 7 days times 7 equals $3,500 is the average like price for that vacation. So after I saw that, because we only spent, just for context, we spent $216 per day or $108 per person. So after I saw that, I definitely felt a lot better because I was kind of really worried that we'd spend a lot, but this made me feel like we had done okay and we were still being fiscally responsible. So if you are interested in taking a trip to Tulum in Mexico, I would highly recommend it. It was so nice. I loved it because they have jungle and beach, and it's a beautiful Caribbean beach, and just a really cool vibe. It was mostly young people that we saw down there, and we had a blast. And I will link all the details that might be helpful for you down below so you can check that out if you want to take a Caribbean vacation. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.